How's it going, everybody? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, first of all, I've reached 711 subscribers, which is astronomical because, like, this time last year, I only had about 60. So I'm so grateful for all the subscribers, all the nice comments and stuff. It's very much appreciated and everything. Right, guys, today figures have been released by the Ministry of Justice in relation to what's going on within prisons, violent incidents, assaults, self-harm and suicides. I've got the statistics in front of me, so I'm going to, obviously as a former prisoner, I'm just going to go through them, and then I want to gather your guys' thoughts and opinions and stuff, because the state of prisons, the way it is, and like the deaths and suicides and assaults and record highs and things, and self-harm as well, these are people's lives, right? They might be in prison, they might have committed crimes and stuff, but these people are human beings, right? And the state of the prison system is shocking, and something needs to change. And that's why I do these vlogs, and this is why I do the interviews with the media and stuff like that. I'm going to be doing one later on this afternoon, so stand by for that. I'll put it out on my Twitter when it's up. Right, guys, so the figures have been released. First of all, figures have been released that 71 inmates in 2016 and 17 have been accidentally released, right? So that's people, administration errors within the prisons and stuff, where people have been cut loose. There was one guy who he got 9 years for, I can't remember the offence, but he got 9 years, and there was an administration mess up and he ended up doing 9 months. They released him by accident. He was then recaptured and sent back to prison to carry out the rest of his sentence and stuff. Just embarrassment, another embarrassment for the Ministry of Justice. That's up 7 on the year before, or 11% on last year. So yeah. Right, assaults, guys, right? Assaults are up to 26,643 assaults within prisons. Now there's 86,000 plus in the prison system. 26,000, right? That's nearly a third of the prison population on average and stuff. That's a record high, and it's up 20% on 2015 to 2016. Of them, 3,606 were serious assaults. That's a rise of 22% on the year before. Assaults on staff make up 7,159 of the 26,643 assaults. 7,159 of them have been carried out on prison staff. Right, that's a rise of 32% on the year before. Self-harm, right? This is a very, very worrying statistic for me personally. It reached a record high of 40,414. That's up 5,749, or 17% on last year. Now that is just alarming, guys. There's 86,000 people in the prison system, right? Over 86,000, just over 86,000, right? And 40,404 incidents of self-harm. That's up 5,749, or 17% on last year. Now that's nearly, like, you've got that doesn't mean that 40,414 prisoners are slashed up. You've got prisoners that repeatedly slash up and self-harm and stuff. There's a number of reasons for that, which I'm going to go into very shortly. Deaths in custody fell from 322 to 316 in 12 months to June, right? Now that means that, so like I say, that's till June this year, 316 people have died in prison, right? Now that could be an amalgamation of things. It could be ill health, but a lot of it's down to suicide, and a lot of it's down to overdosing, and things like that. On average, a prisoner leaves prison once every 3 days in a body bag due to suicide within prisons and stuff. Now, like I say, guys, these statistics, right, are, if you're on the outside, right, it'd be alarming, right? Now, if I'm I've been inside, so I've witnessed these things firsthand, right? You understand? But if it's a prisoner's family that's reading these statistics and stuff, they're gonna be scared, right? If you've got a loved one that's in prison, right, that might not be a fighter, that might not be like the strongest person mentally or physically, these figures are very, very going to alarm these people and think, well, is my baby boy going to be next, or is my daughter going to be next? Because obviously you've got female prisoners within the prison system and stuff like that. When you put into the mix, right, when you add the fact that Cat A prisons, right, obviously I've been in Cat A Strangeways here in the northwest in Manchester. When you add into the mix that quite a lot of prisons, especially Cat A, are 22, 23 hour bang up a day, right, and you see them figures and stuff, right, that is quite, like, you look and you think, wow. Obviously different prisons have got different regimes and stuff, but Cat A prisons and stuff, 22, 23 hour bang up, and they're gonna make up a percentage of all these figures that I've read out to you and stuff that I've told you about. And like I say, the state of prisons is crisis. It's beyond crisis. It's beyond words, to be honest with you. I mean, the reason that violent assaults and violent incidents take place in prison, there's many different reasons, right? Drugs play a part, right? Drug debt plays a part, right? You've got angry, volatile, like, prisoners that are locked up for long periods of time, right? They climbing the walls, literally. It has a detrimental effect on your mental health. Then you've got people that are in the prison system with mental health problems. There is a high percentage of prisoners in the prison system that have got serious underlying mental health problems, right? Some of them haven't been diagnosed. Some of them are going untreated, unmedicated. And the simple fact is the staff are not mentally health trained. So yeah, like I say, treatment, conditions, understaffing, all plays a level and stuff like that. Now, 7,159 attacks on staff. Now, like I say, I'm not a screw boy or anything, but there were two sorts of screws. You've got the old school screws that like to go hands on and like to twist people up and give them a kick in, and then you've got prison officers that just go to work. It's simply a job, and they go home. Right? The reason that prisoners take out their frustration or their anger on a prison officer, like I say, the prisoner could have been given a kicking by the officer, or the inmate is just violent and he's having a bad day and he's had enough and he lashes out and stuff in frustration or anger and everything like that. The prison system's overloaded, it's overcrowded. People on short sentences and stuff is ridiculous. I did an interview recently with the Manchester Evening News about the first 24 hours in prison. It wasn't, like I say, I could have talked it up and glamorized prison, but I gave an honest account of what the emotions you go through when you first go to prison. Like I say, I don't want to glamorize prison to anybody. Prisons are places full of death, despair and misery, and it's only getting worse, guys. And these figures that are in front of us today, next year they're going to be higher, and the year after they're going to be higher, until the Ministry of Justice do something about it. They're overpaid, they're overeducated, overpaid, right? And the simple fact is they don't have a clue how to address the prison system. They think that building more prisons is the answer. You can't build your way out of this, right? Prison should be a place of rehabilitation and reform. Does not happen, right? I was in prison, I was a cleaner. I thought, oh, I'm a cleaner on this stretch. So I thought, oh, well, I'm going to be given skills and training and stuff like that because I'm in a position of trust. All it meant is that I worked 7 days a week for £11.25, which in my opinion is slave labour and it's below contempt. I got no skills, I got no training. They give me £46 and £5.20 for a bus pass, and they kicked me out the gate when my release date came. That was it. Reform, rehabilitation, made up words, so that people like David Liddington, the Justice Secretary, Sam Geyer, who's the Prison and Probation Minister, and you know what? Do you know another thing what astounds me as well on the back of these figures, guys? Right, Michael Spur, who is the top don within the Ministry of Justice, he's been given a pay rise, guys, of, hold it, wait for it, £20,000 on top of his £100,000+ salary. He's been given 20 grand, right? they're rewarding the failures and the misery that's within prisons. The Ministry of Justice are failing prisoners, families, and prison officers alike, right? There are a lot of good prison officers within prisons and stuff. Like I say, there are bad ones and there are good ones. It's like the same with prisoners. You've got good lads and you've got lads that are lost in the system. It's as simple as that. Now, like I say, mental health plays people in prison with mental health issues is, honest to God, it's scary to see. Like, you've got people in prison with Asperger's, with autism, with personality disorders, like paranoid schizophrenics and things like that. I've been in prison with them. I've got on with them. But like I say, imagine being in prison, right? It's hard for someone that's not got any sort of mental health illness or problem, right, to deal with prison. Then you've got locking someone up with mental health problems. It's wrong in my opinion. People on short sentences should be cut loose. People that are IPP prisoners in prison for public protection or indeterminate public protection, they should be cut loose. It was abolished, I think, 5 years ago now, and there's still thousands and thousands of prisoners within the prison system. There's no light at the end of the tunnel for them lads. Like I say, self-harm. People want to swap the emotional pain for physical pain. That's why some people slash up. I've seen people like covered in their own excrement, their own shit, slashing up, trying to put their excrement, the shit, into the cuts and stuff to get infected, just to get to a hospital. I've seen people on hunger strike. I've seen people lashing out. I've seen people attack each other. I've seen people attack prison officers. I've seen suicide attempts. I've seen self-harm firsthand. I used to have to go in and clean the cells after people had slashed up and carried out dirty protests. Anyone that thinks prison is a holiday camp has never been in prison, right? People think because you've got a television in your cell, right, that prisons are butlins with bars, right? Far from it. We're social people, we're social creatures. Being locked up for 23, 24 hours a day has a detrimental effect on your mental health. It's affected me. I can handle my prison standing on my head, right? But the fact is, if I was to say that prison hasn't affected me, you might leave prison, but prison stays with you, right? That's my honest opinion, right? Prison changes you. Prison does funny things to people, right? You might not necessarily see it if you've been in prison, but your friends and your family will pick up on it. Like I say, what angers me and what frustrates me is the fact that nothing's been done. The Ministry of Justice haven't got a clue. They want to build more prisons, a cost of the taxpayer of 1.3 billion. There's a prison that's earmarked for Baglan near Port Talbot in South Wales. You've got one that's been earmarked for Rochester in Kent, one up in Full Sutton in Yorkshire, and also one in Hindley. I think the one in Rochester has been put back to 2019. That money, they can't staff the prisons they've got, guys, right? But they want to build more prisons, right? It's ridiculous, right? That money should be invested in recruiting more staff, right? And investing money into rehabilitation and reform for the lads. Give them courses, give them skills, give them training. So when they get out, they actually stand a second chance in society and can better themselves, get a job, feel worthwhile. And then they pay tax back into the system, whilst the fact that and also that reduces reoffending, which then saves the taxpayer money, because I think it costs about £40,000 a year to keep somebody in prison, roughly. Mental people that are in like psychiatric units like Broadmoor, Ashworth, and Rampton, they're like it costs like in excess of £250,000 to look after them people in there. So like I say, what the Ministry of Justice to do is to save money, they put people in prison and stuff. People on short sentences, it's ridiculous. Prison reform and rehabilitation does not take place, guys. They made up words so that people like David Liddington, Sam Geyer, Michael Spurs can all earn money, earn a wage and walk around in a suit and feel important while getting paid in excess of £100,000. It's ridiculous, guys. Like I say, 26,643 assaults within prison. That's a record high, right? And it's up 20%. And then the fact that the staffing crisis, the lads are getting out for less time a day. But that shows you. So the less association and less exercise the lads are getting, right? But assaults are up a record high to 26,643 violent incidents within prisons and stuff, assaults. That's like, it's concerning and it's alarming for people, right? But they do nothing. Self-harm, 40,414, up 17% on last year. People are frustrated, they're angry. People slash up to try and get a transfer. Some people slash up because they want to get out of the prison, they want to go to a hospital. Deaths in custody, guys, like I say, that's alarming. 322 to 306, it's down from 322 to 316 in 12 months to June, right? Now, one custody in prison's too much, right? So 316, right? Just feel, my thoughts go out to their friends and to their family, because it's disgusting. One death in prison's too much. And then they've released 71 inmates by accident, which is fantastic for the inmates that have been released and stuff, but it's another embarrassment for the Ministry of Justice, isn't it? Right, guys, I'm going to leave this video here. I'm going to be doing an interview very shortly, that's why I've got to cut this short. So I'm going to leave it here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you for your comments. Let me know your opinions on the video, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.